Thank you. That's it. This one. What number is this? 40. Hey guys, another test thing just to keep in mind. So this is a test alert. Test alert. Woo! Woo! If you're taking the test, and what number was this? So like 40. Jesus wrote something like this, which is cool. And you know, you get it right or whatever, something like this. Now, on the calculator portion, if it's a specific calculator portion of the test, and they said, what is the area under the curve, or something with all this stuff, and you wrote this, and then wrote the answer, and even though the answer is correct, you wouldn't get the point, or points. If you wrote, this is syntax, this isn't calculus. If you wrote this on the test, and whatever it is, say it's 2 full points. Just integral answer. Do you see the difference, you guys?
Oh, so you can't put in whatever you put in.
They're trained not to read calculator syntax because all calculators are different. They're trained to read calculus. They expect you to know how to do this on the test, and this will come up on the test, where you just need to evaluate an integral on the calculator portion. So to get the full points, there's usually a point for the setup and a point for the answer if it's something like that. In order to get the setup point, you just have to write it. You know what I'm saying? But you can't write it like that. Okay, so that's just something just to keep in mind for the test. But again, since they expect you don't have to do this by hand. If it's a calculator portion of the test, they expect you to know how to do it. So you just write what you're going to do on the calculator, and then do it. Okay? But make sure you use the correct symbols and stuff. Yes? Did you get that? Alright, go for it. Any questions on that? Any questions on this homework assignment? Yes?
For 41, how do you get the exact answer? They gave you 31,
On the calculator? If you see like on the calculator, you see we will do it, you know what I'm saying, but we haven't been trained to do this one yet. So if you see that 0.3 repeated, you can say that's like, you know, if it's 4.3 repeated, you can say it's 4 1/3, and then from there go through it. Does that make sense? But if you see that 0.3 repeating, like, you can assume that's, you know, 1/3. And get the exact that way. What do you mean? But yeah, you have not been trained how to do that by hand yet. So it's not a circle, triangle, trapezoid, or box. Okay, good question. Any other questions from this assignment? Okay, I want you guys to do a couple more of these just so we get this section done. How did you guys do on the quiz? How did you feel with the quiz?
Okay.
Again, take a second to talk about that in the groups. Did you set it up correctly? Then, I want us to do a couple problems together. Just to make sure let's lock down 5.2, because we're going to have a 5.2 Katie quiz tomorrow. So finish this one 3 ways. Draw it. What shape is that? Draw it, and then the 2 different ways on the calculator, just to build efficiency with the 3 ways to solve it, okay? And then I'm going to write a couple more on the board. I don't like absolute values. I don't know how to, in calculus, I don't know how to take the derivative of an absolute value. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like them. I try to get rid of it whenever I can. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like, could we just do this one by itself?
Oh, listen.
What is that?
Yeah, I think you just do this one because they both have the same value as.
Like its own integral. And then just add in that. add two together. Give it a shot. Rafa, you have any programs here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Could be that easy.
Okay. It's gonna be if I do this. I could save it, just takes a little bit up to do
That's
it.
okay.
Is that Tetris? What am I erasing? Good. Is Tetris?
That's what engineering.
Angry Birds or something? Is that the new one?
That's something
I think, so the square root of x squared is one thing you can do. You could also just break up the absolute value of x into x and negative x. So this thing, this is the negative x line. This is y equals negative x. And then this is y equals x. And then just add them together. Does that make sense? You know, it's another way to get rid of the absolute value symbol.
Question.
You know, because it's just a line. Yeah.
So it has to be like 0 and negative 2 at the bottom? Or can it
Yes,
be 0
from where to where. It's like we start here and we end there.
So you can't have it switched?
You could, and we're going to get it in the next section. Then if we count backwards, our dx is negative then. Because we're counting right to left. Right now all our dx when we count left to right, our change in x is positive. So that if we go up, that's a positive area, and if we go down, it's a negative area. Well, it's going to be the opposite of that if you go right to left. But we'll get into that in the next section.
Okay.
You could put this as 0 to negative 2, but we'll get into that after the final. Okay? Yeah? Alright, I'm going to come around and talk about a couple things with you guys. While I'm doing that, I want you guys, starting on the Chapter 2 stuff. Tomorrow we're going to review Chapter 2, Friday, is that 12 Thursday? Friday review Chapter 3, Monday review Chapter 4. And then that's it before I see you. So a couple things. One is on the U-Texas. I was talking to some students yesterday, and one of the problems had it was like the sine of 2x problem, and it was like, the answer was like, the root was like the cos of 2x. And one of the answers is none of these, and that's actually not it. There's, if you Google trig identities, there's a double angle identity, and you're going to have to use one of those to get the correct answer. If you lost points for it, let me know. I'll get it back, because it's unnecessarily tricky that they put none of these on that choice. You know what I'm saying? So there's kind of a couple silly things on the U-Texas. But there's double angles, just like, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. Well, cos of 2x equals something, and sine of 2x equals something. Find out what it is. That may help. Okay, but I'm telling you that it's not none of these from what I saw. And probably none of them are going to be like that. Okay. And the other thing is, so there's 2 more days left with the morning sessions. I've been talking to some people, and if you needed to make any up, you can't go over the 5 points, but if you missed a day or half a day here for whatever reason, you can make up a day on Monday and on the day of your final. So I don't want to get into the final this week, but it'd be a good review for that day. Just come and review some stuff. So if you're missing a day or 2 or a half day or something, you want to get as much of that in the end here as possible, then take advantage of that. Okay? And again, it's going to be a proportion out of the 5 points. So again, it's a total of 19 days. So if you went 16 of the days, you get 16 divided by 19 times 5. That's how it's going to work out. If you went all days, it's 19 divided by 19, which is 1 times 5, so you get 5 points. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay. I think that was all my announcements. So, start up on Chapter 2. U-Texas is due tomorrow at midnight. And we're going to talk about a bunch of these problems come out. Your test is going to be your finals on Chapter 2, 3, and 4. Limits, derivatives, applications of derivative. No Chapter 1 or 5. Okay? So we'll do a lot with the next.